Hey, good evening. Good evening. Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Me and my buddy here. I mean that music. I think that music sounds like one of them old fashioned porn. Uh,
Yeah, and
it makes you really think.
yeah,
Wayne.
and
Uh,
you had me commenting on some other things on Let's Talk that I normally don't get myself involved in. So,
oh yeah.
the music made me right on time.
Yeah. Stuff can get a little interesting. I mean,
Hey, well, different strokes for different folks. Some
we
do, some don't. Some will, some won't. Whatever
yeah.
makes you happy.
So Wayne, man, it's been a week, man, since NFL draft. A lot of scuttlebutt, lot of
Yeah,
stuff to talk about. Your football team made a cut. One of our guys got cut.
bully ball
On
is
the
gone, man. He gone. Well,
medical insurance example.
you
I'm
know
not
how
sure
that
if you heard
goes.
about
What's that noise in the background you got going
oh,
on?
I'm messing
Mr.
up, just
Wayne.
messing around. But
I
anyway, excuse me,
Stay on mission.
being rude. Yeah, one of our guys got cut, Dwayne.
Yeah, bully ball, man. Like, I get it though, man. It's a new regime. I think that's why, a lot of people have problems with the draft. And you gotta let these things play out. You got a new culture coming in, you got a new defense coming in. So I mean, it's easy to say this guy is not. I saw some people gave the Cowboys draft a D. I know some people gave them Bs. I know it's the end.
How do
The
you grade
thing,
a draft? How do you grade a
right?
draft,
That's
though?
what I'm saying.
Honestly,
I know it's the end thing to do to grade these drafts, but you can't. We ain't gonna know who these players are till we get them on an NFL field. Now,
yeah.
anybody that knows a little thing about me, I'm a football junkie, man. So I watched two games today. Madison lost. I still got my sweatshirt on, even though they blew a 24-3 lead today. I still don't feel good about it. But man, we can't grade these draft picks until they get on the field. Go in, I'm mini camp yet. Jets have mini camp today. As you know, I'm in Jersey, so you know Zach Wilson was out there wearing that number two, throwing the ball around a little bit. So time will tell what these draft picks are gonna be, man. Let's let them get into there. Like for our team that we love, rookie minicamp is on Friday, the 14th. Let's get them down there at the Star, get that helmet on for the first time, and then we can start to judge what's going on. Way too early to judge right now.
One of the things that I noticed that a bunch of our guys have commented on was they finally got to see some film on Oso.
Who
The
Osa?
kid,
Yeah, Osa.
yeah, they finally got to see some film on him from UCLA.
Hmm.
So I think their opinion of him being a third round pick is changing. Like, oh, he's 280, but he's a big 280,
Right.
a state champion wrestler. And so they're changing how they feel about him. So I think it's amazing how a lot of these guys will say something about these picks, and then when they go back and look at film, now their whole tone has changed.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, you know, our company line has been the same for a while now. Myself, yourself, and myself. And will we trust? So if we're gonna say we trust him, we gotta believe he knows what he's doing. You get a lot of people that's like, "Oh, he let Dan Quinn run the draft." Okay, kind of makes sense to work in conjunction with the person that's going to be calling your defense, right? You don't want the situation that you had last year where you was trying to fit a square peg in a round hole with that Mike Nolan defense, and we didn't have the personnel to run whatever it is he was trying to run. Now you got people over analyzing. Well, what are we gonna look like when we're in our base 3-4? Well, if you really listen to what Dan Quinn said, he said 70% of the time we're going to be in nickel. So we're rarely going to be in the 3-4. Rarely. What? Maybe 10 plays a game? And when you have
Yeah,
those plays, you got the big fella from Kentucky,
I
Quentin
find it
Bohanna.
interesting about the
Bohanna, my bad.
everybody feeling like, what we gonna do with these linebackers. I believe that even with Jalen Smith, and Jalen had a lot of tackles, but even I think in his standards, even though he was upset and said, "Look at the film," he had a bad year. How would Jalen Smith play? I wonder how Jalen Smith will play playing half the plays.
Yeah,
Being rotated
and
in, he might play a totally different game. He might be
look,
more effective.
I agree with you. I think you will see a different Jalen Smith this year because he's not going to be asked to be on the field as much. One of the things that excites me about the Dallas Cowboys right now for the 2021 season, depth, roster depth. Last year, when somebody got hurt, we were in trouble. We had a lot of trouble when Van Der Esch couldn't play. You know, we even played, not to discourage anybody, he's not even on the squad anymore. We played March some at linebacker in the game. It's and I laugh because people say, "Oh, the Cowboys took Micah Parsons and linebacker wasn't a need." Did you see our defense last year? Everything is a need on that defense, man.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing is that because of the team is so polarizing, and they got their butt handed to them last year on the defensive end, and everybody knew that basically they was going to draft everything defense, mostly all defense. They needed help on all three levels, and then when the Cowboys did it, the pundits and some of the fans still ain't satisfied.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I would have traded down. I would have went and got. I would have got I don't forgot the lineman's name already.
What do you
I'm
mean?
so far out of
Oh,
draft
we
mode.
talking about Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, I would have drafted Rashawn Slater, and Rashawn Slater may be a gold jackal guy
No,
in the in the in the.
I'm gonna have y'all stop saying that.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying he might be, but we
Can we
can't
say
take that chance.
can we say he a Pro Bowler before we say
Yeah,
gold jacket
we
guy?
can't.
Like,
We can't take that
come on.
chance with messing around and saying next year because we clearly see that they do that with that one position safety
Yeah.
that they've been saying safety for 5 6 years. Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna name anybody by name, but I watched something on YouTube today where they're already doing a 2022 mock draft. Like, seriously? 2021 ain't even a week old as far as the NFL draft. And we trying to mock for 2022 already. See, that's the thing that I have a problem with, right? We all have an idea who's good and who's bad, right? But, you know, I coach youth football a lot of years, administrator. I've seen a lot of people come through youth football. And there's plenty of times where I'm like, yo, this kid right here, yo, his potential, he gonna be a great one. He get up to high school, you don't hear nothing from him. Because he ain't developed past the youth football level.
yeah,
Then
some
you
people can't even take the coaching.
then you get a high school kid that looks like can't miss. 5-star. He goes to one of these universities, never gets on the field. Then you have these all-American, can't miss NFL prospects, and then you get a Tim Couch
Hmm.
or a Joey Harrington or an Achilles Smith or,
Oh,
or Tony or
people,
Tony
people,
Mandrich, who they told
people
us was a
forget about
beast.
people forget about the buses, Dwayne. I mean,
Right.
unless it's your organization, people forget that. Even back then when you drafted a quarterback, that would set you back 5 years. I guess the way
Yeah.
football is now, it has set you back three. But look at the team that's in the local area, the Jets. They were just at the same road, and optimism around their organization was just like this 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, when they got Sam Darnold.
And it's like now we back at square one again.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't get me started about Jeff Lagerman, Johnny Lamb Jones. Like we old heads. We wasn't born in the 90s. We was graduating high school in the 90s. We old heads. So we've been around the block a little bit with this game called football, man. Um, so if you asking me about the Dallas Cowboy draft, going into the draft, I wanted them to double up at corner. I wanted them to double up on the D line. And, we needed linebackers. We needed offensive line depth. We needed a tackle, a young tackle. I'm not going to disparage this young man for the incidents that happened at Florida State. I'm not sure what happened there. I know about the number of charges that went on, but the young man ain't in jail. He played at Marshall, so he had an opportunity to get drafted in the NFL. The Cowboys took that chance. But here we go. We got people talking about Cowboys getting away from the Jason Garrett choir boy era. But what did Michael Parsons? Michael Parsons had a hazing situation, but that was spread all wide on that campus at Penn State. Boss Man Fat, what? He's a character issue because he's a rapper. Like I think we got to be
His
careful.
music ain't that bad neither.
No, I listen to Boss Man Fat. Like
His music ain't that
I'm
bad.
more EPMD KRS-One, but hey, this is what the love kids love nowadays. With the messages and the beats and everything. I don't get it. But I'm also gonna be 47 years old. I ain't supposed to get it.
Let me let
But
me let me ask you, Dwayne. Like, why does it seem like they're trying to compare these kids like they're bad compared to some guys that Garrett? They say that Garrett had high character guys, and that's not true.
it's not all the way true.
I
It's
mean,
not all the way
we
true.
went on a streak like 6 or 7 years where we had a player suspended
Right.
every year to start the season.
And they don't look at that, right? It's just so easy to change the narrative. Like we are so creatures of the moment in everything we do that it's crazy. Now listen, I'm gonna be the first to tell you that I think the New York football giants had a great draft. They had a good off season. So I know everybody throwing around A's and A pluses for the Giants, but they still have one glaring issue that they didn't rectify in the draft for free agency, and that's their offensive line. You got to fix that. You can have
But
all the Kadarius Tonys, Saquon Barkley's, Evan Ingram's, Galladay, Slayton, Shepard. You can have whatever you like Vouch says, right? But if you ain't got no offensive line, what's it all for?
I'm gonna ask you a question. Why you think they didn't address the offensive line?
I have no clue. I have no
I mean,
clue.
I mean, I
It's,
mean, you
it's a
gotta
head
you gotta
scratcher.
protect your quarterback. You gotta protect your big running back, and you got money on the outside now that you have to be able to get to the ball.
Yeah.
I,
Like,
I their draft was interesting.
listen, I love football, man. I love more than just Michigan and Western Michigan and Dallas Cowboys and Union Farmers and Union Rams. Those are my squads. But I love football, man. I sat here today and watched two FCS college football games in May, semifinals. I watched all 8 quarters. That's what I was doing. I was taking notes. So when you love the game, you see the game a little bit differently. You put away your blue, white, and silver pom poms, and you see it for what it is. I could say the Giants had a good draft. I could say the Eagles had a good draft. I think,
The Eagles
uh,
had an excellent draft, man.
yeah, I think Jamin, the linebacker from Kentucky that the Washington football team got, think he's excellent, but there's still holes with that Washington football team. Everybody keeps talking about this great defense, this great defense. They were 7-9 last year with this great defense. And how many games you think Fitzmagic gonna make a difference in?
And then one of the things that they chose not to do was bring Ryan Kerrigan back. And
Right.
what Ryan Kerrigan was doing, even though he's a little long in the tooth, he was allowing the rotation with the outside guys to go on. I mean, even though we know Young had a great year, good rookie year, but
Yeah.
can him and Sweat hold up playing 60 plays a game?
I don't know. I will say this. as a fan of this game, the Washington front seven scares the life out of me. It does. We talked about that. You know, you got Payne up there, you got Allen up there, Chase Young, Sweat. Listen, you put in
And they basically got like a 2 year window because the two kids from Alabama, Payne and Allen, is due up for contracts.
yeah. And then you adding Jamin Davis to that. So their defense is very impressive. Still think they're a little weak at corner. I'm not in love with their safeties, but their front seven is good. But I'll tell you what, that front seven don't get there, you could pick them apart.
What about their quarterback situation? A lot of people were saying, you
Listen,
know,
Ryan Fitzpatrick is on his 10th team for a reason. He's a journeyman, but they're always looking for the person to replace him. Taylor Heineke, he stepped up in that playoff game. I was shocked and impressed by the way that he performed. But you're talking about this team as the favorite in the NFC East, and they went 7-9, man. And the NFC East is a bad division anyway. So if you ask me who the best player in the NFC East, talent, if you go all up and down the rosters, it's number 4.
let me ask you a question. The Washington football team, 7-9, got to the playoffs. Basically, was actually hanging with the future champs, the champs from last year during that playoff game. They probably, if they had a better quarterback, they probably would have put a betting outing in.
Right.
Is I know we always hear it from a lot of guys, but you've been around the game, you've coached, you've seen it. Is the margin of a good team and an average team that slim?
It is slim. It is slim. I mean, think about the NFL. Think about the NFC East. When's the last time somebody won the NFC East back to back? It don't happen, man. The NFC East flips all the time. The NFL is one of those sports, football, pro football is one of those sports where teams can go from worst to first in the blink of an eye. Why is that? It's because the way that they build out the schedules.
So
You
now we got to talk about the pink elephant in the room,
what's the pink elephant?
the MVP.
I have a different view on this with Aaron Rodgers, right? I know they keep saying, what did they give Aaron Rodgers? What did they give Aaron Rodgers? First of all, he has a 3-headed monster at running back. Aaron Jones, they re-signed. They got Dylan, who'll be in his second year. They got, maybe you could argue, top 2 receivers in the league. You can't name 3 better than them. And Devontae Adams. You had the best offensive line. So you had all these things around Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you drafted a quarterback. But Aaron Rodgers forgets he was Jordan Love at one point.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
a young quarterback that was drafted to sit behind a legend.
It's funny. It's
Come
funny
on,
because
man.
if the great Ron Wolf was still in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers would have to get used to get a quarterback getting drafted every other year because
Yeah,
Ron Wolf said I draft quarterbacks every other year and turn them into assets.
right.
Um, I know it's been a lot of stuff coming out. They saying that the Green Bay would have never leaked this stuff, so it has to be at a Rodgers camp. It, I'm having a hard time understanding him. I mean, it's like he's
Listen,
sending messages
man,
like
you
getting the GM fired. I think that's considered a terrible precedent. What do you think about that?
well, listen, man. Look at his personal life. He don't even communicate with his family. You think he gonna communicate well with the Packers? The man that don't even communicate well with his family. And people will say, well, you can't make that Absolutely, I can make that comparison. How you treat the ones you love, I can't compare that to how you gonna treat me, just a regular Joe on the street, or your employer, or your boss, or your co-workers. Come on, man. He made a big deal about a kid getting cut that didn't even play. but he hung out with Aaron Rodgers after practice and stuff like that. You know, you live in a salary cap world, man. Like I said, we talked about we lost Bully Ball. He was a cap casualty. You know, some of the other players that we cut this week were cap casualties. And there's going to be more that gets cut, you know? But the NFL is king. You tell me another sport that could dominate the airwaves for 4 days in a row, 2 days on prime time, you know, ABC, ESPN, and NFL Network. It's amazing what this draft has turned into.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I just, when it came out the report, um, that he wanted the GM fired, and I was surprised that some of these guys from these letter networks, particularly one I don't want to name, but he was like, "You absolutely fire him," and I'm like, so then he goes in this tangent talking about sometimes people got to step in and say, and he's the same one that when his partner got fired from the network that he works for, he didn't stamp on the table and say no, keep him there. So I thought it was kind of crazy, like, how are you going to tell Aaron Rodgers to be able to pull his chess move on an organization, number one, that doesn't have an owner, that's ran basically, it's owned by the city, and you saying, oh, he'll stay if the GM get fired, and then you in the media, instead of reporting the news and you speaking about it, you like absolutely he should do it. I thought it was kind of interesting that he just he sometimes these guys with their pulpit and their platform, in my opinion, they go a little too far.
They do. Um, it's interesting, right? And you know, we try not to play the race card all the time. You know, I disagree with Marcellus Wiley, who says racism's on life support. I want to see that brother go into a predominantly uh, Caucasian neighborhood at his 6'5" self and see if he could just walk around free without somebody calling the authorities. I like to see that. But I get off on a little tangent there. But you'll have somebody like Brett Favre who took Deshaun Watson to task. You got a contract, you got to play. You trying to force yourself out. But he ain't saying the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. And don't tell me that Aaron Rodgers has accomplished more than Deshaun Watson. That may be true. He may have accomplished more on the field, but as a man, why is he held to a different standard than Aaron Rodgers is?
Hmm.
Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, no doubt about it. But they talk about Mike McCarthy won the Super Bowl because he had Aaron Rodgers, right? Well, maybe Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl because he had Mike McCarthy.
And that's another thing
Because
they
he
did.
ain't won one since.
They even mentioned. They said, yeah, he got the coach fired. I mean, yeah, he basically single handedly got Mike McCarthy stripped of his position. Number one is calling plays,
Right.
and then got him fired. And it's like, don't get me wrong. Sometimes, and Dwayne, as a coach yourself, some of these guys don't realize that. Look, I can coach you to be better than what you could do coaching yourself, because you want to, like Aaron Rodgers. One thing that, not to get away from a little to get away from the subject, is Terry Bradshaw says something about him, and he was in the same camp, an opinion that me and you were in
Right.
when it comes to him. He said Aaron Rodgers had the worst feet as any quarterback. And when he said it, Dwayne, I actually was like, what is he talking about? And then when I thought about it, if you ever really watch Aaron Rodgers games, he's a great passer to football. I mean, his accuracy could stand up against anybody that ever played the professional game we've
Right.
ever seen. But the reality is he do got bad footwork.
Listen, I'm not gonna knock his footwork. Um, I'm not gonna go down the road with Terry Bradshaw because he's becoming the old man yelling at kids, get off his lawn. Terry Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls. You know, he called his own plays, he did all that. He has nowhere near the ounce of the pure talent that Aaron Rodgers has.
Hmm.
Okay. So again, I think it's more that hey kid, get off my lawn. Terry Bradshaw, can we go back and look at your films and say you had the best footwork? Or were you just scrappy and you were able to just get plays done? Like these guys on TV, they kill me. Dan Orlovsky comes on here talking about quarterbacks like he was the greatest quarterback of all time and a quarterback guru. You were terrible. You were a backup journeyman. And now you come out here and you say these things about Justin Fields and you say these things about Trey Lance. And then when you prove to be wrong, because you and everybody else, the Schefflers of the world, was talking about San Francisco came all the way up 3 to get Mac Jones, when all people was trying to tell you is you don't have to move up for Mac Jones. They could have stayed at 12. It's obvious because Mac Jones went 15. And what happens is, as fans, we listen to these guys. We listen to some of the people that's on YouTube, right? And what happens is we don't form our own opinion. Anytime you see me on this show or this platform with Q, I'm going to tell you what I feel, but I want you to think for yourself.
Yeah.
Watch the players for yourself. Come up with your own opinion on it because that's all we all have is opinions. I could think the Cowboys got an A++ on the draft. Somebody else could think they got an F. But guess what? Tells it all. Time. Time tells
I know you was
reveals it all.
telling me you was telling me earlier what Bart Scott said about a player that me and you both loved in the draft.
Listen,
Um,
I said that Zaven Collins would be the steal of the draft, right? I thought he was the best linebacker. But now I'm rooting for Michael Parsons to be the best linebacker. I still think Zaven Collins probably will be, but guess what? I love the people that rep the star. So I'm going to say number 11 going to be the best linebacker. The fan in me, I think when it's all said and done, I think it's going to be a close race between those two.
it's funny. It's funny because both of them will be coached by two defensive coaches. Van Joseph, that's who's defensive coordinator of the Cardinals still, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Van Joseph's
I
at
think I think that I think that he's a creative young GM. I
DC.
mean young GM DC. He's so creative that with Watt, Chandler, um
Gotta see what Simmons is going to do, though. Like, I
Simmons,
love
I mean
Simmons, and Simmons didn't. And
he could
again,
do something creative.
this is what I'm talking about when it comes to these drafts. And I said this in a tweet to shout out to Skywalker Still. I said to Sky in the tweet, if you look at last year's draft, 2020 draft, there were more third and fourth round hits than first and second round. So that's why I'm saying time reveals all. We got to give these young men an opportunity to get out there, put their pads on, show that this is because football's their life now. It was before, but it really is now because they're getting paid to do it. So I want to see who's going to put in that extra film work, who's going to spend that extra time on the field practicing his craft. So all time going to reveal all that, man. That's why we got a RELAX. 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 Oh, my
I'm,
team. My
I
team got
know. Hey
a
man,
B and da-da-da.
last year, Dwayne, me and you both picked the sleeper team.
That's right.
We both picked the team that we thought was going to surprise a lot of people. Um, I found out yesterday. I was listening to one of the greatest journalists in NFL history, in my opinion, Peter King,
Yes.
and he was talking about the GM. He's been the GM for 28 months. He has made 28 trades.
Chris Gear
Chris,
getting it done, man.
Chris Greer, the Miami
He's
Dolphins.
getting it done, man.
What do you think about that?
I think it's amazing, right? We're a copycat league, right? So if we're a copycat league and everybody is lauding the Detroit Lions for the draft that they had, right? They got an African American GM, Chris Greer. We've seen what he's been doing the last few years. Got an African American GM. The Baltimore Ravens completely knock things out the park. They're still following the game plan of Ozzie Newsome, an African American GM. So if we're a copycat league, why are these great football minds? It's a crying shame that Lou Riddick can't get another opportunity in the NFL as a GM.
Yeah,
Come on, man. We're a
it's,
copycat league. We need to get more opportunities in these positions, not just
it's
coaching,
it's
but these GM
clearly nepotism.
you hear Giant fans all up and down. They killed Jerry Reese, but you ain't won the Super Bowl since he been gone, and
Mhm.
you won two with him there.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
got my sleeper team. It's just we're gonna talk about that when we couple shows down the road. I got a team. I got a strange feeling they gonna depending on how this defense gel. I got a team who I think is going to be in the playoffs, and it's going to be one of the most surprising teams. And as usual, it's an AFC team. Not that I won't pick an NFC team because where my Cowboys play, but it's an AFC team that I really think last year was a year that they just didn't click. But I got a strange feeling with everybody healthy and all their guys back that they gonna show some people some stuff
yeah.
this
Let
year.
me
So
ask you a question, man. Of the five quarterbacks that was drafted, who do you feel the best about with the situation of where they went and what you think they could do on the field?
I think the five quarterbacks, I believe that I don't think none of them are going to be super great. I think that
Year
Trey.
one or year one or going their whole
I
career?
don't think I don't think none of them are going to be great. I think their careers are. I think that three of them are probably fan out after 5 6 years. Um, I think Trey Lance is in the best situation. Not that I'm a Kyle Shanahan fan. It's really no pressure on him. He's going to a team that's Super Bowl caliber team, Super Bowl talent roster if they're healthy.
I don't know.
Depending on, I
People
mean,
keep saying that. I don't see it, but okay.
Dwayne, when they were healthy, they were just in the Super Bowl,
Okay. People keep
and
saying that. Okay.
so I'm not a big fan of the coach, but I think it would be easy for Trey Lance to transition into the NFL. I think Mac Jones, even though I'm not a fan of him per se, I don't really even think that it's no pressure on him as well. I think the Jets quarterback, the one you said was going to be the bust, I don't see it with him, Dwayne. I don't. I think it's a lot of pressure on the kid. I mean,
Listen.
he's got a left side line that really, honestly, the left side of his line is it can legitimately be all pros, a
Well,
left tackle and a left guard.
here's the thing, right? You got rookie GM. Well, no, I can't say rookie GM because Joe Douglas has
Three
been
years.
for a while. So you have rookie coach, rookie offensive coordinator, rookie quarterback. To me, that doesn't equal year one success. Okay? I don't care how great of a defensive coordinator Robert Saleh is. Sometimes people are just coordinators. So we
Mhm.
got to see how he's going to be as a head coach. Mike LaFleur. Yeah, his brother's done a pretty good job at Green Bay as a head coach. You know, he's leaving San Francisco. Now he's going to be calling offense for the first time. There's growing pains with that. I thought, and I will stay consistent with it, I thought the Jets should have kept Sam Darnold and built around him. But that's over now. So you got Zach Wilson. But we don't know what Zach Wilson's going to be. If you ask me, if I had to rate the quarterbacks, the five quarterbacks, I'm going Trevor Lawrence, Justin Field, Trey Lance, Wilson, and Mac Jones. It's not a foregone conclusion, folks, that Mac Jones is going to beat out Cam Newton. I don't think he is.
Let me ask you, because you brought that up. You brought him up, and I was wondering when you was going to bring him up. Have you ever in your sports? You know, me and you've been talking sports since the sixth grade, Dwayne,
Mhm.
and you follow certain trends in sports that happens. Definitely in the college ranks, you see this a lot more than anywhere. Um, have you ever seen a coaching tree that gets more jobs than this McVay Shanahan tree?
Um,
And no, and they haven't won. That's the issue
that's the
that
thing.
I have.
Like I understand the Belichick. I understand that. This man has won what 6 Super Bowls, Bill Belichick. So I get that. I don't Sean McVay, man. If you was a water boy on the team that Sean McVay coached, you may get a head coaching job in the NFL. And I don't know what this man has done. He has one Super Bowl appearance. I don't know what he's done. Then they talk about Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, his father got Super Bowls, but what Super Bowls is on his resume?
I
Except
mean,
for, except for going there and losing.
Dwayne is kind of like it's kind of crazy because even Andy Reid's coaching tree is not like this. I mean, we just seen a guy who was part of Andy Reid's coaching tree who won a Super Bowl 3 years ago get fired and nobody even had him in for an interview.
Right.
Nobody even and we got an opinion about Dougie P, but he's a Super Bowl winning coach and nobody even brought him in for an interview. And even when McVay was with the Washington football team and he was coaching under Jay Gruden, after Jay Gruden got fired, and we know that how hideous that organization was and what Ron Rivera is trying to bring the stability back to the Washington football team. But even Jay Gruden didn't even get another interview. And it's like you said, McVay, he lets go of Wade Phillips, bring a defensive coordinator in there. He does a great job. He goes out and gets the San Diego job just like that.
Right.
I mean, they didn't even follow the Rooney Rule. I just find it interesting that I've never seen a coaching tree in no sport when nobody has won on the tree, but everybody's getting these jobs. There's just these smart, great coaches ahead of the curve. They ain't won nothing yet. They ain't won nothing.
Yeah, man.
They let the old geezers beat them. I just take nothing away from,
Listen,
Bruce
but
and
you
Bruce and
but you'll say stuff like this, right? And they'll kill somebody like Todd Bowles, right? I give Tom Brady all the credit in the world. I do. All the people he bought there, all that. They don't win the Super Bowl without Todd Bowles' defense.
yeah,
They don't. This man was chased out of New York City as if he was some type of bum behind coach. Okay? He may not get another opportunity. But Lord, they let Rex Ryan get opportunity after opportunity after opportunity.
yeah.
Okay.
I
They
just
they
find
they,
it
they
interesting.
tell you how great this McVay is. He's so great that they traded all that stuff that they traded because he realized he put it on Jeff Goff that he wasn't good enough to run his system. But Jeff Goff took you to a Super Bowl. So we put this genius tag on this guy McVay. He hasn't won anything.
Yeah, and then the GM Les Snead. This is his second go around. With a lot of people don't even remember. Les Snead was part of Fisher destroying the Tennessee Titans. He was the
Yeah.
GM down there. It's like, why is these
Listen,
certain guys getting these chances?
there's not enough opportunities for African Americans in positions of power in the NFL. It's not enough. And it's very crazy to me that people got to get compensated for black coaches and GMs being hired from their organization. Like, why do we have to go through all that?
Hmm.
The sport is 70% African American And something has to be done. You know, it's just like Justin Fields. He goes in the NFL draft and they just wanted to knock him. All the letter networks wanted to knock him. Oh, he's an athlete, but I don't know if he's going to be the first person in and the last to leave. And what did they base that on? But we had to hear how intelligent Mac Jones is. Oh my God. Mac Jones is so intelligent. He really knows how to read a playbook. He really knows how to go through his reads. Well, let me tell y'all something about Mac Jones. Okay? He sat behind Jalen Hurt and he sat behind Tua Tavaloga, however you say Tua's name. I mess it up all the time. So he got on the field and he got an opportunity to play this Mac Jones. Did you watch the draft last week? 2 wide receivers, a running back.
What was his last 3 receivers the last 2 years, Dwayne?
Well, we won't even get into that. Let's just talk about 2020. 2 wide receivers going in the first round, a running back going in the first round, an offensive lineman going in the first round. This is what this man was surrounded about. He had enough time in the pocket at times to eat 2 sandwiches and then throw the ball to the wide receivers he had. We'll see what's going to happen with him in New England. Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick will be real geniuses if they can figure this out.
So Kobe for life. You said that the Green Bay team reporter Jose Arias has tweeted that Aaron Rodgers had told Green Bay management that he wants to play for Ron Rivera, and Washington made a serious offer that Green Bay is seriously considering. Well, I'll tell you this: if all that is true, Aaron Rodgers will not be getting traded to Washington. They're
Now
not going
let's
to trade him. They're not going to trade him in the conference.
no, his
They're
best
not
landing
going to do it.
spot would be
Same
Denver.
thing that happened. Same thing that happened to Brett Favre. Brett Favre wanted to go to Minnesota, and they traded him to the Jets. That's why he played that 1 year with the Jets, and then he went to Minnesota. I doubt very seriously that Green Bay would trade him inside the conference if they trade him.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If you trade Aaron Rodgers, you ain't just going to get him for a bag of balls. They going to ask for a Chase Young. You better believe it. They going to ask for a Scary Terry. It ain't just going to be draft picks. You have no quarterback in Washington to give them back.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know.
I find it interesting with like me and Dwayne. I don't know how long you've been watching the show. Uh, uh, Kobe for Life 24. Aaron Rodgers is not. Everybody thinks that he has leverage. He actually doesn't have leverage because what happened is that he decided to leak these reports after the draft, during the draft. What happened is he should have did it 2, 3 months ago before everybody's set. Now these rosters are about to get set. So if you think Aaron Rodgers is getting traded now, and there's 2 or 3 teams that's quarterback
I
needy.
mean, I'm not going to say he's not going to get traded. This is NFL, anything can happen. But I'm
You
just
said
saying,
Washington. What's to say that he wants to play for Rivera though? Washington is scaring me, guy. I mean, Aaron Rodgers on any team will make you a legitimate competitor, a threat to at least win your division. But don't worry about it. I mean, that's all you could do. Like at the end of the day, it is what it is.
man,
Aaron Rodgers, as great as a quarterback that we believe that he is, as great as a passer that I believe and Dwayne believes that he is in a football, I can honestly look everybody in their eye and say Aaron Rodgers choked the last 2 championship games.
well, I mean, I don't like to use the choke word. I mean, I'm not going to go at anybody that does, you know. Um, we hear about the greatness of Aaron Rodgers. We hear about the greatness of Drew Brees. They both only won 1 championship, you know. And I'm not taking anything away from either one of them, but we overvalue the quarterback sometimes. But you're not getting, yeah. They would have to. They would have to give them something of substance. You ain't just getting draft picks for Aaron Rodgers. You know, wherever he goes, the team is going to be good. I think people are overvaluing the Washington football team. This was a 7-9 team last year.
And and trust me, if Aaron Rodgers thinks that he's going to be coached by Ron Rivera, and if he thinks he's going to be throwing that football all over the field, it's not going to happen. Ron Rivera
you'll
is
change it. I mean, you'll change what you're doing.
what, Dwayne?
I'm sorry. You'll change what you're doing because it's Aaron Rodgers. But you know, it's crazy, man.
I find it interesting.
It's just crazy to me, man. Like like I said, we gotta let a lot of things play out. I think we're quick to rush to judgment with everything, with drafts and everything else. Aaron Rodgers is trying to hijack the offseason now. And we'll see, man. You got people saying 5% he ain't gonna play, whatever. Let me tell you something. If Aaron Rodgers is not traded, he's gonna play at Green Bay. You want to know why?
38 million reasons.
The almighty dollar, and him getting fined $50,000 a day once it's time to report. And I don't care how many millions you got. Don't nobody want to give up $50,000 a day. Listen, I hear what you're saying, Kobe for life. I hear you. But I hate the Washington football team. They haven't won anything since 91. Why everybody want to talk about the Cowboys, and the Cowboys ain't won anything since Super Bowl 30. These jokers ain't win anything since Super Bowl 21. Okay? I'll see it when I believe it with the Washington. Let them get a team name first. When they get a team name, I'll start taking them more seriously. I ain't scared of Washington.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about them like that. Like I said, it is what it is. You deal with that. You be so focused on your team. You deal with that. We all know like I said, we all know what Aaron Rodgers can do. We all know what he can't do. He's beaten us twice in the last two playoffs that we've been in. I mean, two out of the last three playoffs we've been in.
I can't stand him. You know, they call him a bad man and all this. Listen.
Hey, Kobe for life. Dwayne about to jump on you for this one.
Okay, go ahead. Not even going to say anything. I'm not even going.
We don't got one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
Nah,
Kobe
I'm not
for
even
life.
going to dignify that, man. See, this is what I'm saying, man. And like I said, you all may think I'm on one tonight or whatever, but we need to start rating these black quarterbacks and valuing these black quarterbacks better than we do, man. Because if you look around the league and if you look around the way that this game is being played right now, the day of those sitting in the pocket, Mac Jones type quarterbacks is over.
See Kobe for life.
Let me just finish this.
Kobe for life, you trolling now.
let me just finish this thought. There was two teams that made major trade-ups in the NFL draft this year. Two. San Francisco and Chicago. And what did they come up to get? Young, athletic, strong-armed, smart, hardworking black quarterbacks. That's the wave right now, folks.
That is when your life
hey,
is
Kobe for life. I'm gonna put this next statement up here. I'm not even gonna let Dwayne mess with you, man.
No, let him.
You said you wanted to trade and tag that. That's the second statement. But this is what you put up there. Do you realize, Kobe for life, that Dak Prescott was on route to throw him for 6,000 yards
Don't
last
tell
year?
this man nothing.
Do
This
you
man,
understand that?
trying-
And the
this man,
reason why he was able to almost over 6,000 yards was his ability.
no,
The
no,
defense
no,
sold us out. Like
no, no,
he's
no,
Dak
no,
Prescott. Hold up, Dwayne.
no,
Dak
no,
Prescott has gotten better every year
no,
he's been in the league.
no, no, no. You're both missing the point. You're both missing the point. When this guy got hurt and you took him away from this team, they lost their leader. They didn't know what the hell to do with themselves on offense or defense. Okay? So you could say he sucks, he's a loser, but guess what, Kobe for life? You probably a Tony Romo fan too, ain't you? And what the hell Tony Romo ever got you? A turnover late in the game. So you calling a man that all he's done is win his whole life. You talking about a quarterback at Mississippi State that took an also ran SEC team and took them to the #1 ranking in all of goddamn college football. And you gonna sit here and disparage this man and call him a loser? You a damn loser. How
Hey,
about that?
hey, Kobe for life. You getting your troll on now, huh? You get you
Listen,
trolling me and Dwayne now.
Trey Lance made prove to be a good quarterback, right? But he also played in the FCS level. So we don't know what he's going to do with the big boys. I think he's going to be successful, but we don't know. But you
I'm gonna
got
let you.
these people that disparage Dak Prescott, Rain Dakota Prescott, who's a damn 4th-round draft pick that people said couldn't play under center because that's all he was in the shotgun. But you probably love goddamn Tim Tebow. And this man ain't played football since 2012, and now he coming back to Jacksonville
Oh, he getting his
as
troll on.
as a
Yeah,
tight end. But
yeah,
Tim Tebow's a winner.
he getting
Yeah,
his troll
I ain't even
on.
paying attention to him. Don't even put his comments up anymore. Take that down right
He
there.
getting his troll on, yo.
He ain't trolling me. He just showing that he has no football IQ. He just sitting there. That's a fake Dallas Cowboy fan right there, if you ask me. Because if you could see what happened to that team last year when they lost Dak Prescott, and you could call him a loser, you out of your goddamn mind. And let me ask you this question. Who gets the most endorsements in this whole NFL? I'll wait. Because it ain't Aaron Rodgers. It ain't Tom Brady. It ain't Pat Mahomes. Ain't none of them. It's Rain Dakota Prescott. And yes, you got to win Super Bowls. But you guys love Tony Romo, a loser who couldn't win in the clutch. Hell out of here. Time to end this show because I ain't going to sit there with that foolishness. That's straight foolishness.
Well, if you know, and Kobe for life, if you know any guys on YouTube that are cowboy guys, we might have a guest. One of the guys might come on the show tonight. I don't know where he is. I know he might be running with his family, and it's the day before Mother's Day. So I know a lot of people are spending time with their wives or whatever. It's Mother's Day weekend, so I understand if he don't show up in the next few minutes before me and Dwayne say sorry, Nara. But Cowboy for life, man. I'm trying to.
Nah, he
I
ain't
never
say
I
his name
never I never
for life. He said his name Kobe for life.
Oh, Kobe for life.
Yeah,
I never try to get on fans for their opinion, no matter how far fetched it is. But at a certain point during this conversation, you took the reality and the intellect away. Definitely when you start talking about Dak suck. As a Cowboy fan, no Cowboy fan should be saying that now. And if your opinion was valid, you wouldn't be saying uh, Trey Lance, a guy who hasn't, who probably doesn't even know the difference of the size of the footballs from college to pro, right
a
now.
guy they ain't even looking to start this year. They got him under. They're gonna have him out following behind porn star Jimmy. You know, you could say you don't like that Prescott. That's good, but personally attacking that man, calling him a loser, calling him dirty. Come on, man. You way off base with that. But you wouldn't say that about Tony Romo, right? Nah, you wouldn't say that about him. I
Now,
wonder why.
Dwayne, a lot of that comes from these guys. This is all some of these Cowboy fans know is Romo. They Romo is like their only quarterback.
Listen, man. I never went into a game thinking Tony Romo was going to win it for me.
How did you say you like Dak? You just don't think he's a horrible fit for the team. What is the problem with Dak? When they
You,
asked Dak to give him, hold on, Dwayne. When they asked Dak to quote unquote drive the bus, he drove the bus and he gave Zeke the ball. We were down 35 nothing before our offense even got kickstarted. Dak throwing the game football all over the field. I don't see how you could feel like Dak is horrible for the team. And now you're saying you prefer Dak. He's not a winner. I'm lost. I'm lost. I guess you don't remember the days when we had Danny White and Gary Huggerboom and the way you had to mute yourself from this guy, yo.
listen, I respect everybody, but at certain times I turned it off, bro. Like, I've been a Cowboy fan since 1982, and I've seen bad quarterbacks. I've seen Chad Hutchinson. I've seen Quincy Carter. I've seen Steve Pallor. I've seen bad quarterbacks, man. Like, come on, man. Dak Prescott's not a bad quarterback. Think about how he came into the league, taking over for an injured Tony Romo, who you all love, and he never gave the man the job back.
Hmm.
Okay? So we'll see this year. Hopefully the offensive line stays healthy. Hopefully you'll have a Zeke back that didn't have COVID-19 like he did last year. And we'll see. You know, I think Dak Prescott is a Pro Bowl quarterback because that's what he's been in the past. And if you look at the NFC East, tell me which quarterback in the NFC East is better than Dak Prescott. Am I saying Dak Prescott's the best quarterback in the NFL? He don't have to be. He don't have to be. But we'll see. If we fix this sieve of a defense, historically one of the worst defenses of all time. Oh, I
So you
forgot. We
so
had
you said
another.
so you said you're rather like Kyler Murray?
I don't know why. I don't know why you going down this road, Q. The young man ain't going to say anything good about Dak. We'll move on from it.
Who the hell is Kyle Allen? There's no quarterback in the NFL named Kyle Allen.
He talking who? Is he talking about Allen of the Redskins? I mean, of
He
the
said
Washington football team?
he said
That
Kyle Allen. He'll trade
he
Dak for Kyle
no,
Allen.
he talking about the quarterback that was in Carolina with Ron Rivera and is now there with the Washington football team. That's who he talking about. But again, like I said, Q, go on to another subject, bro. For real. I know you said you wanted to say something about Micah Parsons and what Ross Tucker and Kim Jones
Oh,
and
oh
some
yeah.
of those guys.
Oh yeah. Dwayne, I know how we feel when we see kids that definitely when we were younger, we would see kids from like Bergen Catholic, Elizabeth, Westfield. We see kids and be like, you know what, he gonna be a pro, and then they'll go on and then they'll be really good. Then we'll be like, we root for them. So we always gonna speak up for these type of guys. And I noticed something that Penn State is like Duke. They have a lot of their alumni in the media.
Yeah.
And to a man, I heard LeVar Arrington, great linebacker at Penn State. He basically said that Micah could be the one. Micah could be the best one to ever come out of there. Kim Jones loves him. We love Kim Jones. She's a great reporter, local for us. She does the NFL Network as well. Are
It's
they overrating him?
listen, it's LeVar Arrington, right? He has a personal relationship with him. It's like I'll tell you this, right? When 3-2 Jamari Bogan went to Western Michigan, I thought he was the best running back in college football. Why? Because I believe in his talent. I know who he is as a person. I've been around him since he was 8 years old. So of course I'm gonna have a bias towards him. LeVar Arrington has a personal relationship with this kid. The kid looks at LeVar Arrington as a mentor, somebody that he can depend on, somebody that he can trust. So of course LeVar Arrington's gonna have a high opinion of him. Kim Jones is all Penn State. That's like asking Desmond Howard if a wide receiver from Michigan is going to be good. You understand what I'm saying? So you have those type of biases. So if you ask me, I've watched Micah Parsons. You know me, I watch college football. It's what I do. I watch more college football than I watch NFL. Micah Parsons has the goods to be a great one. But so did LeVar Arrington. He was good in the NFL. He wasn't great. We can't account for injury. We have to be careful of being kings and queens of the moment. We gotta let this thing play out. As a
Okay.
Dallas Cowboy fan, I hope he's an all-pro every year he suits up. But we gotta let this thing breathe. We gotta let people prove themselves before we earmark them as the best linebacker to come out of Penn State. And if he is the best linebacker to come out of Penn State, let's base that on what he did at Penn State, not what he could potentially do in the NFL.
The other thing, and I know I really want to shoot this at Foots if he was able to join us, because I've been saying it to you, and I've been thinking about it more and more. A lot of times in football, we understand that you may want to play a player, but the contract might get in the way. You know how it is, Dwayne, in NFL. The backup might be a little bit better, but because this guy is making more money, he might have to get played more. The ownership may be like playing more. I preface that to say I've been looking at the measurables on Jabril Cox. And I know that Quinn from last week's press conference, he said a lot, but it's a lot that he said he won't tell. I really, and it's not far fetched, Dwayne. I really think Jabril Cox could play free safety. I
Yeah,
really do.
I think that's something that you drafted him to be a cover linebacker. Let's see what he could do. Um, it's sort of like the Cowboys got Reggie Robinson last year. Oh, he's a corner, he's a corner, he's a corner. Oh, he could play safety. Oh, when he gets in there, okay, we're gonna move him to corner to safety, only to move him back to corner. Gotta let it play out, man. You gotta let these guys play the position that they've been playing, and then potentially Jabril Cox. Listen, you got a Kanu Neal that's played safety his whole career, and now this year the Cowboys moving on the linebacker. Are we 100% sure that's going to work? You know,
Yeah,
sometimes a safety is a safety and a linebacker is a linebacker. Do I
because I
think?
think. Oh,
Do I
go
think
ahead. Go
the
ahead.
Burrow Cox? Could he do it? Yeah, he could do it. I mean, Darren Woodson did it, but Darren Woodson's exceptional too. Just because he did it doesn't mean that Jabril Cox is going to be able to.
Yeah, I just think it's. I think that the coach is one of them guys, and I hope that he is one of those guys he's going to try to get his best players on the field regardless. I think it's going to be some, like we discussed. You said depth. It's going to be some healthy competition, and I won't be surprised going into training camp. Within the first week, it's going to be some major cuts or possibly a couple trades where they're going to probably get some of them guys off that roster because right now, and me and you used to always talk about Gifford and Bernard and being able to ever see them on the field.
Now
They're on
you're not
they're
gonna
on the contract, and we might never see them boys
no, you're
ever.
not gonna see them. You got these young guys, but you got to be careful, man, because Dan Quinn has a type. That's why Nashawn Wright went in the third round because he has a type. That's a 6'4", almost 6'5" corner. So even though he got a 3-year contract, JD got to be a little worried. Chris Richard had a type. if you were a small corner, you just wasn't going to play for him. So we got to let it play out. We got to trust Dan Quinn to do what he got to do. We got to trust Kellen Moore to continue to be a play caller that he is. And I'm going to say this one last time. You can call me biased. You can call me whatever. If the Cowboys don't have a healthy Rain Dakota Prescott, they're not going anywhere. That's what you call a loser? No. He's a winner. And if he's not there, this team ain't going anywhere, man.
And with that, we're gonna leave the show and close the show out. Until next time, we join you guys. Unfortunately, our guest he probably was caught up with his family and stuff. I get it, and we'll see you guys hopefully next Saturday or whatever, and we'll discuss more.
Yes, sir.